And on both counts, the Iranians have consistently said, no, it's our sovereign right to do whatever we wish with the uranium that we have. And we're not giving up what we currently control, the Strait of Hormuz. So I think we're at an impasse of sorts. In other words, this is an immovable object right now. Nobody can move. Now, I do think that something you said is very important earlier, and that is what Bibi Netanyahu says. Because let's be frank, ultimately, he's in charge. We are fighting this war on the basis of Israeli demand. The Israelis demanded that we support them in this war. Donald Trump made promises to do so. He's very transactional. Lots of money was donated to his campaign by very wealthy billionaires who support Israel unconditionally. So he's honored his promise. I think at the moment, he's not waiting for anything else to arrive. The military is already deployed. They are positioned for attack. So I don't think that has anything to do with the delay. I think he's delaying in the hopes that he can find some way out of this that does not make him look foolish and stupid, to be blunt. For all the talk from Hegseth and others about how we've defeated the Iranian armed forces and so forth, it's all nonsense. I have to keep in mind that Iran's navy did not consist of a great fleet of ships to begin with. Iran is not a maritime power. Iran has managed to control the strait with a mix of robotic small boats, undersea mines, and obviously the ability to strike anything that comes through it with its tactical ballistic missiles or unmanned systems. There is no navy per se as we understand it in the West. And frankly, Iran hasn't had much of an air force since the Shah left. So those things are just flat out erroneous, nonsensical, and irrelevant. The problem for Donald Trump is that we expended a lot of money, lots of missiles, lots of munitions, and we failed. We failed to make a serious dent in Iranian defenses. Now, in the meantime, the Iranians have replenished their stocks, resupplied. I think they're probably in better shape now than they were when the war began. I think the intelligence officers are effectively communicating that. It's very frustrating. And the other thing to keep in mind is the Iranians have learned from each and every incident that has occurred over the last many, many years and months. They know roughly where U.S. forces will attack from. They know what kinds of weapons and munitions the U.S. will employ. When you figured out your enemy, as well as the Iranians have figured out us, it's very disturbing if you want to launch new attacks. Now, he said most recently that the leaders of Saudi Arabia and the Emirates have asked him not to attack or to slow down or to pause. That may or may not be true. We know that the UAE, the crown prince there, which is very closely aligned with Israel, has urged him to destroy Iran. So I don't know how true that statement is. The Saudi crown prince, I'm sure, is very sensitive to this, as are the other Emirates, because, frankly, if we go through another destructive round against Iran, Iran will retaliate very effectively against all the oil infrastructure, the desalination plants, and these governments could very well go out of existence. Now, in the Arab world, as you know, most of the elites in the Gulf are viewed as Epstein-class members. They're not held in very high esteem. So these people could lose their positions in these places anyway. But at this point in time, I think the most we can say is that Donald Trump is trying to figure out what he should do. And I think ultimately he will decide to restart the war. I think that's where we're headed. But he's thrashing around. And, it's sort of like being in a fist fight with somebody, in the schoolyard when you're a kid. And when all else fails and nothing works, what do? You punch the other person in the face and hope for the best. I think that's where Donald Trump is. Well, I'll have to do what I did before. I'll do it better. And hopefully this will have the desired impact. I don't think it will, but I think that's where he's headed.